Hello, hello. Welcome everybody. It is the 30th, I think. The 30th of March, that's what it is. But I know it's Thursday night. So we're going to hang out for the Jason Elliott show. I'm going to move this so you can see all that mess. Ooh. Well, looks like you're going to be stuck with it. I'm having trouble tonight. But that's not stopping Pete from watching. Hey Pete, how's it going? Let me see if I can make this better. I gotta angle this thing up just a little bit. There we go. Alright. That was rough tonight. How's everybody doing? What's the weather like where you are? How's your week been? What are you doing to be 51%? How's your mama? Tell me something good about yourself. Something good that's going on. And you do all that stuff. I'm gonna grab myself a drink. I need one. Hey, Nat Wags. You're also in tonight. Good, good, good. Very happy to have everyone here. All right, let's see who's here. Pete says it's in the 50s, an hour south of me in Lynchburg. Actually, Lynchburg is where I have a fashion show next month. Wait, in May. So I'll be down in there in May. May 7th, I'm going to be walking in a fashion show with the Lux Life at the Glass House. So if you're in Lynchburg or you want more info on how to come to the fashion show, let me know. Tickets are going on sale Saturday, actually. But I've got an in, so if you know you want tickets, I can help you out. Christina, thanks for joining. Wait, camera's on this side now. Let's see here. My Powerpuff Girl is here, as is Michael the Masters. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Let's see, David says, welcome back. It's muggy and getting ready to rain. Well, I tell you what, I am glad to be back. I missed everybody last week. And I'm kind of jealous that it's raining at your place, because that sounds really good to me right now. Let's see, Garrett's here. Some other people are here. Oh, Bessie. She says, looking good, my son. Love you. I'm sending you all my love, too. I totally miss you so much. And hopefully things are going to work out for me to see you in a couple of months. But I'd love to see you sometime before then, too. Because that'd be fantastic. Fantastic all around. That's what I think. Let's see here. Well, David is asking the million-dollar question. But before I get to his question, let's see. Yep, same here in Covington. Been overcast all day. And I've missed you. Well, it's been overcast here all day, too, so I'm hoping we get some of that rain tonight. And I have missed everybody, too. And the end of the song means the official beginning of the show, and we can get right to David's question. He said, how was the trip? Well, for anybody who actually pays attention to Thursday nights, you will know that last Thursday, I wasn't here. So it's only, oh my gosh, I think the fourth, maybe fifth time in over a year that we haven't had Jason Elliott show on Thursday. But it was for a good reason, because I was on vacation. And sometimes we just gotta take a vacation for ourselves. And that's what we did. So last week I actually took my very first cruise. And that's what we can talk about tonight, because I just kind of want to tell you all about it. Because I was really, really nervous, actually, to go on a cruise. Because yours truly gets seasick. So I didn't really know what to expect, and I was really nervous about it. But it turned out to be a really fun time. So Marcus and I have been looking to maybe take a little vacation, and it just so happened that a very dear friend of mine and ours happened to be booked on Royal Caribbean. Speaking of Royal Caribbean, Britt is here. Hi, Britt. Britt worked with Royal Caribbean for a while as an entertainer, so I bothered him with a bunch of questions that really had nothing to do with his job as an entertainer, but I wanted some input, so he was a huge help. And then we just decided we're going to go ahead and sign up, and we're going to do this. So we signed up with Royal Caribbean for a cruise, and we left Miami, and we went from Miami to Key West, and then from Key West to Cozumel. So that was the plan. And I guess I'll probably just kind of start from the beginning. So the trip started out, it was all right. We took our flight from DC down to Miami because we decided to fly instead of driving. And when they took my bag and threw it onto the conveyor belt in Miami, it crushed a wine bottle, a full wine bottle in my luggage. So all of a sudden, you've got alcohol reeking from my bag, leaking from my bag, and when we ran to the bathroom and opened it up, it was just soaked. Like almost everything that I had packed in my bag was soaked, stained, and covered in glass. So the bottle just completely shattered. So in the airport bathroom, we tried to kind of separate what was not ruined and what was, and we stuffed everything into a trash bag, and then the things that were still dry I put into Marcus's bag. And I will tell you, my immediate reaction was, this ruins everything. I hate it. I'm so mad. I can't believe this happened. I'm so angry. That was my gut reaction. And then I looked at Casey, and I looked at Marcus, and I said, okay, we have to laugh. Like, we just have to laugh at this because it's not funny right now. One day we'll laugh, but if we don't laugh about it right now, then it's going to ruin the whole trip, and we're just going to not have a good time. So we tried to laugh it off. And inside I was still like, oh, because so many of my clothes and my awesome outfit for what we thought was going to be the captain's night was just ruined. And I was like, man, this sucks. But I said, that's okay. They have cleaning services on the boat. I'm pretty sure. Let's just back it up. Let's go. Let's keep on going. So walked around part of Miami, got lunch, reeking of alcohol, wet, and just kind of a little bit talked to the airlines, and via Twitter, they told me, yes, we can take care of it. So then while we were waiting for lunch, I called in, and the guy who answered the phone actually made fun of me for having shards of glass in my luggage, and laughed at me and made jokes about me using Twitter to say that there was an issue, and was just very, very rude. And you can ask the people sitting at the table with us, I got rude back. And I was yelling at him, telling him to put somebody else on the phone, and he yelled back at me saying they're going to tell you the exact same thing. And I said they could tell me the same thing, but they're going to have more respect for me when they do it than you, and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, long story short, they started a claim, and told me the next steps that we can do. I don't expect anything at all to change with that. And it's okay, because life goes on. So we get to the boat, we get to the dock after trying to tell our Uber driver how to get there, which was another adventure. And we get up there, we go through security, and then we have to go through a line. So what happens is, for anybody who has never been on a cruise, and no, David, I have not emailed corporate. I just took to Twitter like any person would do nowadays. So anyhow, so when you get to the dock, you tag your luggage, and they take your luggage, and they'll take it up to your room for you. And then you walk in, and they do like a little passport check, and then you go upstairs, and then you stand in this line. Well, because we booked our rooms separately from our friends who were going, our friends happened to be preferred members or priority members, so they were in through that line in like 10 minutes. And, sorry, ship. I'm going to keep saying a boat. It's a ship. Sorry, Brett. The vessel that sails upon the waters of the seven seas and oceans around the world. Then we get into the line and we wait for what felt like an eternity. And we get up there, they take your picture, and then they have... Oh, where is it? Hold on. So I just realized today that I have been off of this ship, vessel of the seas, for it's a week tonight or a week today. So I've been off for this week, and I've still been carrying, I don't know if you can see it, my sea pass. So when you get up there, they take your picture, and then they basically load your information onto this card. So when you're on the boat, when you're on the ship, when you're on the vessel of the seas, I'm trying, Britt, I'm trying. So when you're on the vessel, this is everything that you need. So this is your room key, this is your identification, this is your credit card, this is everything. So once you get this, then you go to board the vessel, and then we got on there and found our room, and the room was as small as everybody said it was going to be. What I wasn't quite prepared for was how tiny the shower was. Like, tiny. I was telling somebody today, I have been in a lot of showers and bathrooms in a lot of settings all around the world, and I don't think that I have ever consistently had a shower that was as small as that one was. So that was a little bit surprising. I knew it was going to be small, but I was really surprised that it was actually as small as everybody said and what I expected it to be. So we get our stuff there, and then of course, explore the boat a little bit. And I was nervous because, like I said, I get seasick. So I didn't get a patch. Time kind of got away from me trying to get ready, so I didn't get any of the patches. But I did take some non-drowsy Dramamine with me, and I was prepared to eat all the ginger that they had on the boat, ship, vessel of the sea. So I said, that's okay, we can do this, we're fine. Now, me, typically, what happens is when land disappears on the horizon, I get sick. Because for me, it's psychological more than anything, I thought. Because if I see land, I'm like, oh, I can swim there, even though I know I can't. We are hanging out around. Marcus and I go to the top deck, and we're up in the front. Ironically, we run into a couple whose son or nephew lives here in Charlottesville, and so they're like, oh, do you know him? And I didn't know him, but he actually works in the department right next to one of the departments that I work in. So that was pretty cool, and we talked, and then we took off, and I was really nervous, and I did okay for like the first day. And then about the second day, the boat started to rock just a little bit, and I started to realize that I might just need to start taking Dramamine. So I think it was like the second night for dinner, I went ahead and took one. And I did all right most nights. Now, I will say, the one night that I thought I was probably going to have to jump overboard was when we were just sitting. So they killed the engines, and we were just sitting. And I tell you that I felt like we were like rocking back and forth like nobody's business. And we all were feeling it. We were all not necessarily enjoying it. And I thought that was going to be the end. And I was finally going to get sick. I never got so sick that I was throwing up. And I never got so sick that I couldn't function. I was just kind of queasy and really low on energy. So a lot of times I would eat dinner, and then I'd go back to the room, and we would have plans to go out, and then I'd go to sleep. And then I'd just wake up the next day. A lot of people say they have a hard time sleeping on a cruise ship because they can feel it rock back and forth. I tell you what, every night I laid my head down, and that was it. I didn't get up till the sun woke me up, or Marcus woke me up. So it was a really, really pleasant surprise that I slept so well. So The first stop that we had was in Key West. We got off in Key West and got to just kind of walk around and see some things. So the first item that I checked off my bucket list was to see the southernmost point in the continental United States, which I know is such a cliche thing, but I want to visit the northernmost, southernmost, easternmost, and westernmost points in the United States. So it was really cool to be able to check one of those off. So of course we got our picture down there and everything, and I think Key West is just the darn cutest place I've ever seen. It's so cool. It's like the mix of Southern charm and a tourist town and a nursing home all wrapped up in one, with a bunch of gay flags and beaches. And it was pretty cool. I would love to go down there. I said if I went down there, I feel like for a long weekend, I would leave knowing just about everybody on like around the neighborhood, because it really does just feel like a neighborhood. And I love it. I think that's really cool. So I think it could potentially be a little bit boring after some time, but I think it's also like a really cool place that I can't wait to go back to again. There's like chickens running around all over the place, and little baby chicks, and we were walking around and got like our margaritas and our drinks at this booth on the side of the road, and you can just carry them with you. So like we're walking down the street and it was fine, and we just carried our drinks to the beach and it was okay. So it was pretty cool. It looks like perhaps I may have lost the signal. I don't know if I did or not. My feed on here stopped. There it goes. Ah, am I back? Alright. Somebody give me a thumbs up if I'm back and you can actually see, because mine's working up here now. So if you can see me, give me a thumbs up so I know that I'm actually here. I'm waiting eagerly for thumbs up. And if you're really excited that I'm back, then you can give me a heart. Because mine's broken. My heart is broken because it keeps on freezing. If I'm here, give me a thumbs up, or a heart, or a smiley. Bueller. Anybody there? Hello? Okay, there's a thumbs up. I got a thumbs up from somebody, so somebody can see me. I'm still frozen on here, so I don't know who's got the magic broadcast. Alright. So I'll just keep talking, I guess. My Powerpuff Girl says I'm back. Pete says he's here. Ashley's here. Alright. John said, it's me, girl. Alright, great. So I guess that means that we're back. I don't know what that was all about. But we're going to try to keep on going, telling you about my cruise. I was talking about Key West, and that it's really cute, and I think it was fun. And we hung out on the beach there, and then we went to a place and had lunch, like some barbecue or something like that. Got to walk through a little gallery. I didn't know that Truman's house is there, so I'd like to go back and see Truman's house because I think it'd be so cool to travel and see all the homes of the presidents. So I would like to go back and see that. The Hemingway house is there. We also went to like a butterfly place because I'm just that kind of a guy that I like plants and butterflies. So we went in, and there's all these butterflies flying all around, and you can actually see them in the windows as they go through the various stages before they hatch into beautiful butterflies. So that was really cool to get to see all of that. And we just had a really good time. And then you have to rush back to the ship, and then you have to stand in line for forever, and then you go through security to get back on, and then you're back on the ship. And then we cruised for a little bit, and then we had a stop in Cozumel. So, like I said, Marcus and I went with Casey, and then we went with 3 of Casey's friends, 2 of which I had actually already had the pleasure of meeting at one point or another. So, all in all, it was Marcus and me and Casey and Michelle and Margaret and Lauren. So there were 6 of us. So when we got to Mexico, the 6 of us decided that we were going to take a ferry 45 minutes to the mainland and go to Tulum. Now, Tulum is one of the Mayan ruins where Marcus and I went in September. So it was kind of, ironic that we ended up back there already. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. But I will say that it was absolutely terrible sitting there on this daggone ferry going across the water for 45 minutes. Well, it was really like 35 minutes. And it's a good thing, because if I'd have been on that thing for 10 more minutes, I probably would have hurled. Because that was rough. It was just a little boat, and you could feel everything. Luckily, we sat on the outside, so we all dealt with it all right. And then we get there, we run over, we get on a boat, we get on the boat, and then go from the boat to the bus. And then from the bus, we went to Tulum. So then we went through Tulum, we saw the ruins, and we heard more about, the Mayans that lived there once upon a time. And then we climbed down the side of a cliff, and we hung out on the beach for most of the day, or for that portion of the day. And then we left there, sandy and wet, drove up the road, and stopped at a tequila house. So then we went in and we had a tasting of tequila. So we tasted almond tequila, vanilla tequila, coconut tequila. There was another flavored, but I can't remember what it was. Some other tequila. And then we tried 3 just kind of standard. So like the regular, not aged. And then there was one that was either 4 or 8 years. And then one that was either 8 or 12 years. I can't really remember. And the last one that we tried that had been aged for either 8 or 12 years, I asked, what's your favorite? And he goes, well, this one is. And I said, oh yeah, well that was pretty good. I asked how much it was. It was $220 for a bottle of it. And I said, oh my gosh. And then the one that he recommended that was his favorite, because it was the one he could afford, was, there you go, Marcus to the rescue. The 8-year and then a 14-year. So the 14-year was over $200 for the bottle of it, and it was a small little bottle too. And then the 8-year was just over $100 for basically a small bottle. So we ended up not getting any tequila anyway, just because 1, I wasn't sure what I actually wanted, and 2, I had already had 1 glass bottle of alcohol shatter in my luggage. I wasn't about to shatter another one on the way home, so I figured I'll just go down to the ABC store and get something here if I need it. But it was really cool to be able to do a tequila tasting in Mexico, so that was fun. And then from there, we went back to like their 5th Avenue, which is a mix of things like Armani and Tommy Hilfiger and all of like, the, what do you call it when there's a bunch of shops in one place? Help me out. Oh my gosh. Anyway, the stores that you see in like a strip mall or like in Williamsburg Pottery or something like that. So they had all of that mixed in with like the tourist trap tchotchke shops, right? Where they're like, hey, come here, friend, come here. And the tour guides were so kind to say, if you want to come with us, we'll take you somewhere where you can get authentic Mexican food. And of course, we're like, yes, let's do that. Like, we want to get some good Mexican food while we're here. So most of the group follows our 2 tour guides to this little restaurant. And almost immediately after we walked in, I think just about everybody had this feeling that it wasn't necessarily as authentic or as tasty as they had made it out that it was going to be. So we walk in, and while we're waiting to place our order, they are getting remodeling done, and there's guys just drilling into the walls and putting up shelves and painting while people are sitting there about to eat. So it's definitely a little bit different than what we're used to seeing here. But anyway, they ended up coming over, taking our orders, and I decided that I really wanted fish tacos. Somebody had told me that when I'm in Cozumel, try fish tacos because they're the best. And that was something I hadn't had in a long time, so that's what I wanted to do. So I ordered my fish tacos and a margarita, and some other people ordered some other things and some other drinks, and eventually they came out and we ate them, and I was thinking to myself, this really isn't so good. It just, there was nothing special about it at all. I was like, well, maybe I'm just like in a bad mood, or maybe I'm just being picky, so whatever. Well, then I also was thinking, man, this drink isn't very strong either. And then one of the girls was like, I don't know if there's anything in this drink or not. And I then knew, okay, it's not just me. Well, we finished our drinks, we finished our food, and then we only had a short period of time before we had to be back, so that way we could go to the ferry to get back to the cruise ship. So we go up to pay, and we had said, there are 5 of us eating, we're going to need 5 checks. Well, all the checks were on one, and the guy could not figure out how to separate the checks. So eventually he figures out, okay, I got to split the checks. And then he said how much it was going to be for the first check, and Margaret, I think it was, handed him her credit card, or her debit card, and he started trying to swipe it, and it wouldn't read. So the debit card would not go through. Well, after trying, I knew that I had cash. Well, I don't like to use cash because, as was pointed out after the fact, it's very easy when you're a tourist or when you're in a foreign country for things to get kind of lost in the shuffle of our currency and your currency and exchange rates and all that stuff. Well, we decided, I told him as best as I could in my broken Spanish that if we can't do separate checks, then just put them all on the one check, and if he'll take American dollars, then I can pay in cash. Otherwise, he needs to get his credit card working. And so he was trying again, and the line was just building up behind us. Everybody was getting antsy because they wanted to pay, they wanted to leave, we were running out of time. And so he's like, okay, yeah, we take American dollars, and I already checked before, so I knew that they did. So then we're counting up in our head what it's going to be, and then it comes back at a higher price. And I'm like, what in the world? So instead of the exchange rate of about 1 to 19 or 1 to 20 that we had seen everywhere else, our exchange rate in this restaurant was about 1 to 15. So really terrible exchange rate. So we ended up pulling out my cash, and I paid in cash, and it was $88 for not so good Mexican food and drinks. And then we left, and it come to find out nobody thought that it was good. In fact, when they all sent me the Venmo for it, I think everybody said, this is your payment for the terrible food, or this is for the alcoholic drinks. And so it was kind of like a big disappointment, and everybody in the group seemed to feel that way. And we all came to the conclusion that our tour guides were getting some sort of a kickback or a benefit for bringing their groups in, because otherwise that restaurant would not have so many people in there because they really weren't worth it. But anyway, so we finished up there and then got back on the ferry to get back to the cruise ship, got back on the cruise ship, and then started our journey back home. Yeah, and Marcus just said not to mention the one couple that didn't even get their meals at all. So they were down to one cook apparently, and there was a table, and they didn't even get their food at all. And then one table they had only one thing that they ordered showed up, That table, the other table, they had trouble. So it was just kind of not fun. So if you're ever at the port down there in Cozumel, I can point out to you which restaurant not to go to. But we get back on the ship, the vessel of the seas, and we headed back. And I felt really good the last 2 days because he was flying back. I think at one time when we looked, we were going like 18 knots or 19 knots or something, as opposed to the 10 or 11 that we had been used to. So I didn't feel sick at all because I couldn't feel anything moving or rocking, and it was nice. And then we got back and spent the day in Miami, and then flew back that night and had several delays for several reasons. First, the crew was late on their arrival, so they had to put us on a delay. And then a storm came through, and because there was lightning, they had to delay us again. And then when we got on the plane, since we had been delayed, then our crew was busy doing other things instead of pushing us away from the gate. So they had to wait for another ground crew to come out. So then that delayed us even more. Then we had a screaming baby on that flight the entire way back, and a lot of turbulence on the way back. It wasn't a fun or comfortable or happy flight. And then we landed in DC, where it was approximately negative 14 degrees Fahrenheit. And when we landed, since we were so far behind schedule, then they didn't have a ground crew there. And apparently everybody decided they just wanted to go to sleep because it was so late at night, so nobody was there to help us get off the plane. So then it was a little bit longer getting off the plane. So we were very tired by the time we got home at like 3 o'clock. And then Casey drove all the way back to Virginia Beach that night, or Newport News that night, and we had the shower before we went to bed, and we didn't get up until like 2 o'clock the next day. But it was a good time. A couple highlights. Everybody wants to know about the food. So every night they had like a different theme. So they had Italian one night. They had American classics one night. They had French one night. I can't remember what the other night was. But yeah, so anyway, you could order as much as you wanted. So the first night we were all trying to be, like, oh, I'll just have one entree and one appetizer, please. And then by the time we finished, we were like, we need more. So that first night, most of us got a second entree. And then when it came to when it came to desserts, we all ordered 2. And we had so many desserts that there was a ring of plates going all the way around this table, big enough for like 6 or 8 people. And it was pretty awesome. Most everything was good. Some of it was dry, and some of it was, just kind of meh. But all in all, it was pretty good. The desserts were pretty good, I thought. One of the nights was the French, and I finally checked off escargot on my bucket list. So now I can check that off too. Not really a fan of it, but then again, it just felt like I was chewing garlic butter. So yeah, that was alright, but I can check it off. I did it, I tried it. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. And let's see, we went to a farewell show, and that was something else. The production was awesome. They had like Big Vegas showgirl things, and me being the entertainer that I am, sitting right in like the front row, I just could not, I was just in awe. I loved it. They had live singers and they had dancers, and most everybody was extremely talented, and the costuming was just gorgeous. And of course, I'm looking at it, picking it apart, like, how can I make that? Or, ooh, that would look good for this category. Or, oh, that doesn't fit right. But it was awesome. I loved the show, and I wished it would have been longer. And then we went to, that afternoon, we had gone to, it's like the Love and Marriage game show, which is modeled after the Newlyweds show from way back in the day, which I loved watching reruns of, so it was really cool to see it in person. And they had a couple that had just been married for like a year or 2 years or something like that. And then a couple that had been married for 22 years. And then a couple that had been married for 58 years. And it was so hilarious. We laughed so hard. Everybody had such an awesome time. And we just thoroughly enjoyed that. And then we also, let's see, what do we do? I subjected Marcus to sit through a presentation of diamonds and gemstones. So we learned all about, like diamonds and gemstones and how to tell the good ones and what the different cuts are and all this stuff. And the draw for me was you got a pair of Tanzanite studs. Well, it was actually like a little coupon that you would get, so then you had to go into a store and do it. But because it didn't work out in Cozumel, we weren't able to get our Tanzanite studs. However, we listened to this whole presentation. At the end, they did a raffle, and yours truly won a Tanzanite necklace. Here, actually, I'll show it to you. And when she called my number, Marcus and I were like 2 of maybe 3 males in the room, and maybe like 2 of 4 people under the age of 115. So that's good. It's kind of hard to see, but that's my Tanzanite necklace that I won. There's a little Tanzanite in there. So that was really fun. So I was really excited about that, and I actually enjoyed it. I learned a lot. And I've always loved like jewelry and gemstones and all that, so I did think it was pretty fun. And then we did a selfie scavenger hunt where you basically run all over the ship and have to take all of these selfies in different places and with different things and doing different things. And Marcus and I got down there like 3 or 4 minutes after everybody started, and the guy was like, "Oh, did you want to play?" And we're like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, everybody else has already started." So I was like, "Well, come on, let's try it anyway." And then as soon as we got it, like, y'all know I'm super competitive anyway, but as soon as that paper got in my hand, I was like, and luckily Marcus was paying close attention, because the first one was like, find a crew member with 2 or more stripes. And before we went, he goes, "Hey, I got a question. Does he have more than 2 stripes?" And it just happened to be somebody walking past who fit the bill. So we took a selfie with him. And then we were running all over the ship. And we get to this point where we have to take a picture of the crew member at the climbing wall, because they have a climbing wall on the back of the ship. And we get back there, and we're trying to take the selfie with him. And we take the selfie, and then these 2 broads come up, and they're like taking the picture too. And she's like, "Oh, are you doing the selfie?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're doing that." She goes, "Oh, we are too. How many do you have left?" And I said, "Oh, only like 2," which actually was more like 4, but whatever. And I was like, "Yeah, I think like 2." And she said, she's like, "Oh, okay." And then we start running in. Well, Marcus goes in the door first to get to the next place. Then Broad Bimbo number 1, and then Broad Bimbo number 2. And then number 2 pulls the door shut on me, and she was like, go, I got him." And I was like, "Oh, whatever," and I just kind of laughed it off. And then she goes, no, I'm sorry, sir, this door's locked. You have to go around some other way. Sorry. And I was like, ha, 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 and went to go open it. And she was legitimately trying to lock me out of the ship, so I had to run all the way around the ship to get back with Marcus so we could take the selfie for the next thing. And I was like, no, she's not going to do that. So I'm like, come on. And she was like, "I'm sorry, like, the door's closed. You're going to have to go around." And she was like, go, I got him. Well, I was like, that ain't going to happen. So I yanked the door open, and I looked at her and I said, "There's been a lot of doors closed in my life, and I've never let that stop me from getting where I need to be, and you're not going to be the first." And then I just ran past her, found Marcus, we took the pictures, we were running around. Eagle Eye spotted, we had 2 left. One was a picture with Gloria Estefan, and one was at a restaurant. So we're running through to try to get there before the time limit's up, because if you get there late, you're disqualified. And he's like, "There she is!" So we found this portrait of Gloria Estefan, and we took a selfie with it, and then we run in right as the time is there. And I was like, "Is it done?" And he goes, "Yeah, time's up." "Oh no, you have 50 seconds. And so I was like, "Go!" So then we weren't allowed to run, so we power walked, like on power mode, got to the sign of the restaurant, took a quick selfie, got back and sat down right as he said time's up. Well, as he starts counting, the points on another table, Broad Bimbo team shows up, and they were like, "Oh, fancy meeting you here." I said, "Yeah, fancy meeting you here too. Late." And she's like, "What? Are we late?" And I said, "Yeah, we started late, and you're arriving late." And they were like, "What?" And I was like, "Just sit down." So anyway, they said something. They were like, "I think you need to check this team for cheating." And I'm glad Marcus was there to be my rock and my ground, because I was about to come up. And I looked over and I was like, "You want to talk about cheating? At least we weren't closing the door on people." I said, and we still finished. I was mad. And good old Marcus was like, "Hey, calm down, relax." I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So anyway, then the guy's coming around counting everybody up, and he counted ours up, and he goes, "Well, okay." And then he gets to them and he counts them up. So he goes, "Okay, we're gonna see, where the points lie." And I'm like, I don't care if I win this or not. I just want to beat these two blonde bimbos that tried to lock me out of the ship. That was all I wanted. So we start sitting there, and he's like, "Hey, this table, what's your points? And this table, what's your points?" And they were like, 29. And it was like, "Whoa." And then the next one, they're like, 29. Whoa. And then, and now mind you, a perfect score is 30. Okay. So they're like, "Oh my gosh." So immediately, everybody's like, they're going to win because they had 29. This table had 29. The other people were like 14, 17, 23. Blah. And then instead of going to us, he skips us and goes to the blonde bimbo team. And they were like, 29. And everybody was like, "Oh." And then he goes, "And what about you all?" And me and Marcus just looked together and said, 30. Yes! Oh my gosh, I was so excited. I didn't care if I won the whole thing. I just wanted to beat them. And we were the only team who had a perfect score. We got every single selfie that we needed. One was kind of a stretch, but the guy bought it, so it was fine. But we got every selfie that we needed. We started 3 to 4 minutes after everybody else. We came back before some of the people, and we had a perfect score. I was super excited, and I think Marcus was excited as our at our prize that we got for that, as I was for the Tanzanite necklace. We got 2 carabiner clips. And so I was like, "Oh, okay." And he was like, "Oh, I love these things. I use these at the firehouse all the time. They're great." And I was like, "Well, here, you can have mine too." So he was super excited to win that prize. I was super excited to win the other prize. And we were both very happy that we beat the blonde bimbos who tried to lock us out of the ship and be legal cheaters. But that's what happens. Cheaters never win and winners never cheat. So just keep that in mind, kids. So that was a good time. And then for the last night, typically, it's like one of the last nights, they will have like the captain's ball, and everybody dresses up really nice. Well, they don't do that on a 5-day cruise, apparently. So there were a bunch of people who packed nice clothes to wear, us included. So that last night, a lot of people were dressed up, very nicely. And we decided to do that too, especially since I had to pay $65 to have my laundry done that was covered in alcohol. They did a great job though. Everything came out clean. Some of it came out smelly and musty, but it was clean enough for me to wear. So that night we all got dressed up. We took some pictures on the staircase, and we walked around the ship and just on the decks, and we just really enjoyed ourselves. And it was a wonderful way to end the cruise, and I really did enjoy it overall. Next time, 1, I'm not going to pack so much, and 2, we're going to get a bigger boat. So those are like the two take-home points that I had: is get a bigger ship, because the Empress of the Seas is the smallest ship of the Royal Caribbean fleet, and there were times when you could definitely feel it. And then when you're also sitting ready to, embark on your journey or, finish up, and you see these massive cruise ships, and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in a canoe right now because they're so big. Those are the ones that I think we should probably do next time because I won't feel them the same. I just have a feeling that would be pretty fun. But we had a really good time. Very much enjoyed it. If you haven't seen the pictures, you can look at my Instagram because I only took like a dozen pictures to post because we just had our phones locked in the safe the whole time. And honestly, I think my favorite thing about vacation, about being on that cruise, is that I didn't have any service. So nobody could call me, nobody could, get on Facebook and message me, and if they did, I wasn't going to find out until I got back. So I loved that part of it. That was really great. And I didn't spend a lot of time taking pictures. Instead, I just tried to, make memories and enjoy it. And I think sometimes we just have to get ourselves back to that where, it's not what's the best. Now, I'm saying this kind of in a hypocritical way. What's the best filter that I can put on here to make this look good? Because sometimes I get filter crazy. But, it's just, why do I need a filter when instead I can just enjoy it in the moment? And that's what last week was all about, and I very much enjoyed it. So, all in all, I learned last week, I'm not a cruise guy, but I'm always going to be a vacation guy. And I also learned last week that I may not be a cruise guy primarily, but I'd still go on another one. So if you happen to have some extra cruise tickets laying around, or, if you just want to do something nice, or if you happen to have a cruise ship and you'd like to invite some people along, remember Jason Elliott and remember this episode of the Jason Elliott Show. And all that good stuff. But that's kind of the adventure of my very first cruise. It was fun, and I loved it. All in all things considered. Stained and glassed up luggage and crazy things that happened that I didn't even talk about that we'll save for another day. Being sick, all of that stuff considered, it was great. The only downside was I didn't have you there with me. Well, I had a couple of you there with me, but not all of you. But I do have you here with me tonight, and I am so glad to be back. I'm so glad that you're here with me, and I'm so glad you sat through me talking about my vacation, even if you didn't get to take one with me. So, with that in mind, we're going to take a vacation from the Jason Elliott Show for the next 6 days, and next week on Thursday, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about something. I'm not going to tell you what, partially because I don't know what yet. But as always, if there's something you want me to talk about on the Jason Elliott Show, make sure that you let me know, and then we'll bring it up, we'll talk about it. Because here is where you ask, I talk, and we grow. On the Jason Elliott Show, every single Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And like I always say, and I will say with my dying breath, from dreams to goals, and goals to reality. Why? Because dreams are for those who are sleeping. If you're alive and awake and watching the Jason Elliott Show or planning to take a cruise yourself, that means you're awake and alive enough to actually work towards making those dreams goals. Because goals are attainable somethings. You can work hard and achieve them. And once you reach those goals then suddenly have become your reality. Your reality is yours and yours alone. There's nobody else in this entire world that can tell you that you can't have that reality. There's also nobody else in this world that can make that reality yours except for you. So dream big, work hard, and then enjoy the reality that you've made for yourself and show it off. Be proud of it, because I'm proud of you for making it happen. And we do it every day. We do it every Thursday here on the Jason Elliott Show. So thank you for tuning in this week. And like I said, we'll see you next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And use the hashtag 51% to keep me involved in all the good stuff happening in your life until we meet again. All right. Thanks, everybody. Great to see you. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Smooth sailing to you. And as they say on the ship, when somebody looks good, you're looking smart. All right. Whatever. I'm tired. I'm going to take some medicine and go to bed. Goodbye, everybody.